Hello. The Kevin Davis case is described as so horrific that many media outlets and journalists are reluctant to reveal many details about his crimes. His behavior is so bizarre and depraved that the term human cannot be used to describe him. On March the 27th, 2014, Celeste McGraw, the executive director of Girling Hospice, received a call notifying her that her employee, Kimberly Hill, had not shown up for work at the nursing home that afternoon. Kimberly Hill was a dedicated nurse and rarely missed work, which caused Celeste to worry about her well-being. Celeste tried to contact Kimberly but received no response. After hearing from a colleague about the police calling for information about Kimberly, Celeste decided she could not wait any longer. She and the patient care director went to Kimberly's home at Windrush Apartments in Corpus Christi, Texas, to investigate her unusual absence. However, when they arrived at Kimberly's apartment, the presence of the police made them anxious and fearful of possible dire outcomes. Celeste quickly inquired about the situation, but the police could only apologize and say that there had been an incident and they could not provide more information at that time. Everything remained very vague and unclear. Strangely, Celeste had spoken with Kimberly the day before, March the 26th, in a cheerful manner with nothing out of the ordinary. So what could have happened? It was supposed to be Kimberly's 51st birthday that day, a devoted and hard-working mother. But no one could have anticipated that this would be the day her life would be destroyed by horrifying events that had occurred just 48 hours prior at the hands of a murderer no one could have imagined. At around 10 a.m. on March 27th, just a few hours before Celeste discovered Kimberly was missing, LaWanda and her husband, Timothy, were at home in Robstown, Texas, just 15 miles from Kimberly's house. Fortunately, Timothy was off work that day, otherwise LaWanda might have confronted the murderer, Kevin Davis. A knock on the door was heard and a young man stood outside their house. LaWanda asked him what he needed, and he requested that she come closer. Without suspicion, LaWanda opened the door and approached, but what the young man said next changed LaWanda and her husband's plans for a relaxing day. 911, what is your emergency address? Hello? Someone just knocked on my door. He's standing outside and wants to call 911 because he says he has just killed someone. Okay. Is he still there? Yes, he is still here and says he has killed someone. Is there any way I can talk to him? Do you want to speak to 911 on the phone? Okay, but what's going on? The young man told Timothy coldly that he had killed Kimberly Hill with a hammer without providing any specific reason. He stared blankly outside during the conversation like someone answering a phone while waiting at a red light. They had to wait a long time for the police to arrive. LaWanda had to call the police twice because of the confusion and fear, as they could not be sure if there was an immediate danger to them. When the police arrived, the young man had no intention of fleeing. Instead, he surrendered and admitted to and recounted the gruesome details of his crime. He confessed to having murdered his mother, Kimberly, with a hammer. Of course, that wasn't everything that happened. Following Kevin's confession, the police took him in for questioning as soon as they received the report about Kimberly's apartment. At Kimberly's home, the door was bolted shut, so the police had to find a way to enter the house. What they found behind the door was a scene of horrific carnage that was hard to believe. It resembled a horror movie setting. Blood-stained clothes scattered in a corner, a blood trail extending from the sofa to the floor. Family photos on the walls and shelves were also smeared with blood, and the room reeked of the stench of blood and the strong odor of a corpse emanating from the bedroom. Kimberly's body was discovered with 18 cuts to her head lying on a nearby rug. The police also found a hammer covered in blood. All the details match Kevin's confession, but that wasn't the only weapon found at the scene. The police also discovered a knife on the couch. It seemed that the tragic events began in the bathroom, where many pieces of men's clothing were discarded next to the bathtub. Under Kevin's shoes, there were clumps of yellow hair. The police surmised that the perpetrator had likely tried to clean off the victim's blood from himself in the bathroom. The once happy home had now become a crime scene, and the perpetrator had not only left evidence of his brutal attack, but also left behind terrifying letters. These letters seemed to be a challenge or mockery directed at the police and those living in the house. One letter in particular, addressed to Kimberly's daughter, Kevin Davis's sister, was neatly placed on the sofa with a bizarre message. "Don't panic, Mom might still be alive, though you're not sure about that. Hurry." Underneath was signed, "Your brother." After confirming the scene, the police immediately arrested Kevin Davis, Desiree Hill's brother, who had left behind peculiar traces and messages at the crime scene. Upon discovering her brother's insane plan, Desiree lost control and realized that 18-year-old Kevin Davis had murdered their mother with a hammer. She lived in horror when she saw the letter, which was not the language of a human being. After discovering the body of her mother, Desiree Hill went to the police station to report with her boyfriend present during the interview. Desiree felt heartbroken to realize that her own brother had killed their mother. The police asked her about her brother. Despite her deep pain and shock, she admitted that her brother was studying police science in New Jersey. Desiree recounted that her brother had previously shown disrespect and frequently argued with their mother because she did not approve of his dating through social media ads. Desiree also mentioned that she had not seen signs of romantic involvement from her brother, as he always stayed at home and no one visited him. Their mother had loved her son very much, despite his communication issues and psychological instability. The relationship between the two wasn't too bad. However, after the conflict that day, she had taken her brother in to live with her to improve the situation. Desiree even bought her brother an expensive jacket, hoping he would like it and understand that everyone cared about him. However, he increasingly became intolerable, using offensive and hurtful language towards his sister and mother. Eventually, on a day when Desiree discovered her brother's secret plan, it pushed her into an emotional turmoil, causing disruption in their lives. Since childhood, Kevin had exhibited psychological issues and had drawn strange pictures of shooting victims. He had also written several disturbing notes, including his sister's name on a list. The police found many notes at the crime scene detailing Kevin's plan to kill both his mother and sister. The plan included buying a hammer from a store and carrying out the act that evening at his sister's apartment. Upon discovering her brother's secret plan, Desiree was extremely angry. The police had warned Desiree twice that she was on a blacklist, but she found it hard to believe. In fact, Desiree even thought the police were deliberately trying to disrupt her family's emotions. However, the reality was shocking for Desiree, as her brother had indeed confessed to killing their mother. Desiree couldn't comprehend what could drive her brother to such actions as their mother. Kimberly did not deserve to suffer in this way. The truth was that Kimberly had been aware of her son's plan the night before, but had remained calm, which only enraged Desiree further. She was not interested in the details of how her mother was killed. She only wanted to understand why Kevin acted this way. Although Desiree had never witnessed her brother being abusive toward their mother, she assured the police that Kevin had definitely committed these cruel acts against their mother. Desiree revealed that her brother had intended to kill her and their mother in a note written long before, and the police recorded all the information and began investigating the matter. Following her testimony and the information gathered during the investigation, it was revealed that Kevin had had an argument with their mother before killing her, and he had been cruel to her for a long time, even though Kevin had no prior history of violent crime. Kevin was detained for investigation as the police suspected he had killed his mother and planned to kill his sister. The police read Kevin his rights and instructed him to sign documents to ensure he understood the process. Although Kevin had written down his murder plan on paper, it was not enough for the police to have complete evidence for the case. Kevin confessed to all the grisly details of his crimes, so the police did not need much time to interrogate him before disclosing the details of the case. Kevin had spoken to several people expressing a desire to release the burdens within him. It turned out he showed very serious signs of mental disorders, such as antisocial personality disorder and schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a syndrome related to abnormalities in the brain's thought processes, which can diminish sensitivity to moments and events in life. To compensate for emotional deficits, individuals with the condition may turn to intense or risky experiences and often struggle with processing emotions and empathy. Their emotional circuits in the brain severely reduce their ability to experience emotions. Kevin was likely to experience reduced positive emotions and sought constant stimulation through various actions. Studies have shown that individuals with schizophrenia have reduced fear and anxiety responses, possibly due to differences in the amygdala, a part of the brain involved in emotional processing and danger detection. Kevin wrote a strange suicide note after drafting his murder plan, and the note, filled with suspicious content, increased concerns about his mental state. At 6:51 p.m. on March the 26th, 2014, Kevin wrote a letter titled "A Suicide Note About Life." The letter contained unusual messages filled with cruel and threatening language, particularly aimed at his mother. In the letter, he mentioned having killed his beloved gray cat and contemplated killing both his mother and sister. However, this dark plan failed and ended with a brief note. Desiree, Kevin's sister, went into a frenzy and felt exhausted by the situation, so she decided to confront her brother. Kevin explained that since childhood he had always lived with humiliation, fear, and anger. Once his sister had ruined his toy by using a hammer to cut the control wires, which left painful images in Kevin's mind. When he grew up, he attacked and killed his own mother with a hammer. This crime occurred in their living room and bedroom. Kevin attacked his mother multiple times, and dragged her from one place to another. He admitted to intending to use a knife but was unable to do so. While the killing of parents by their children is relatively rare in this case, the murder of the person who gave birth to him in order to satisfy his anger and unease seems to not be uncommon. After killing his mother, he calmly changed clothes and bathed. Even more terrifying is that he also planned to kill his own sister, Desiree. However, after a while, his humanity resurfaced, causing him to change his mind as he felt this would lead to the death of too many people. He also admitted that after killing his mother, he had fantasized about having sexual intercourse with the dead body and had actually committed this horrific act with his mother's corpse. When the police asked if this was the first time he had done this, he calmly replied, "I guess I lost my virginity to a dead body." When asked about his feelings towards these terrible and disgusting actions, Kevin answered that there was nothing worth saying, that he was simply a terrible and disgusting person. He even said that if given the chance, he would kill again. Desiree, his sister, is still bewildered and terrified upon discovering that her brother had ruthlessly murdered their mother. She asked him when this intention first arose in his mind, and he told her that he had planned it since he was a teenager. In Kevin's letter, there were 3 main contents, one of which was a letter to his sister informing her that their mother had died and expressing his disappointment in a way that made the situation more comical. Another letter in the mother's room had content chasing after me, possibly related to reporting the police. He had planned to leave the town or even the state after losing control of his actions. However, an unexpected situation occurred when he went to Lawanda's house, revealing a horrifying secret and using their phone to confess to the police. Unlike the escape plan in the letter, now Kevin is sitting in jail regretting his actions towards his sister. He admitted that he was a terrible person, and when asked what had led to this horrific idea, he said he had watched a lot of films and felt excited by the violent content. He also acknowledged a special interest in artistic types of murder. Previously, Desiree had discovered a note about Kevin's murder plan, and she had shared this secret with her mother, Kimberly, finding it in Kevin's private room. Desiree knew that Kevin would never share his plans or intentions with anyone, not even his mother or sister. Unfortunately, this was also one of the last moments she had with her mother. For his heinous crimes, Kevin Davis has faced murder charges. It is unclear whether his humanity remains intact after acting against his own mother, but when the initial lawyer wanted to focus on his mental illness to seek a 60-year sentence, he proactively refused. Ultimately, Kevin Davis was sentenced to life imprisonment and is currently serving his sentence at a mental health treatment facility in Texas. What are your thoughts on this case? Please comment below to share your views and show your support by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.